An appeals court will not lift an order requiring the Trump administration to facilitate the return of Kilmar Abrego Garcia to the U.S. Abrego Garcia was mistakenly deported to an El Salvador mega prison. He is a Salvadoran national, but was living in Maryland and was granted legal status that should have prevented him from being sent there. The Trump administration claims he's a gang member and says it has no plans to bring him back to the U.S. The appeals court ruling reads in part, quote, "The government asserts Abrego Garcia is a terrorist and a member of MS-13. Perhaps, but perhaps not. Regardless, he is still entitled to due process." CBS News Justice Department reporter Jake Rosen joins us now. Jake, what were the other takeaways from the ruling? Where does the case go from here?
Well, the big takeaway, Lindsay, is that those daily updates that the Department of Justice and Trump administration are required to submit, letting the judge in this case know what is actually going on, if there are any efforts underway, which, as we know, there are not. Those updates still need to continue as the case plays out. We know that in about 2 weeks' time, there's an expedited fact-finding due from both sides, and the plaintiffs are going to be able to depose 4 government officials who actively have firsthand knowledge of any operations that would be underway to bring him back. Certainly a striking time now where, after Judge Boasberg's decision yesterday to hold the government in contempt, this judge says she wants all the facts in front of her in this case before she can make a ruling on potentially doing the same thing and not returning Mr. Abrego Garcia.
An immigration judge has denied bond for a Tufts University student who was detained by Homeland Security officers last month. Rumeza Ozturk is her name. Where does this leave her case?
That's right. Ms. Ozturk had her bond denied in an immigration hearing today. So that was down where she is currently being detained. That was her attorneys and the ACLU's move to free her. There were arguments last week, Lindsay, in Vermont, where she was being detained at the time that her attorneys filed a lawsuit. They're seeking to free her and have a federal judge order the same thing. We have not yet heard from a judge on that. Could potentially come soon. It's been about a week since those arguments.
And the Justice Department wants to step in for President Trump in the E. Jean Carroll defamation case. What's going on there?
Well, there's a law that says that because President Trump was technically in office when his initial comments about E. Jean Carroll happened, that technically he is immune, and thus the Department of Justice wants to take over this case and argue on his behalf. President Trump, you'll remember, was found guilty and owes E. Jean Carroll $83+ million for defaming her and talking about the interactions that they've had years ago. President Trump has appealed that case, and now the Department of Justice is basically substituting in for Trump's attorneys, as we know, most of which many of those attorneys have gone on to work for the Justice Department currently.
Finally, the DOJ has submitted a new filing in the George Santos fraud case ahead of his sentencing later this month. What can you tell us? Well,
the Department of Justice is seeking about 7.5 years for Mr. Santos. It was a very unusual move, and they cite a recent spate of social media posts attacking the Justice Department and saying, again, that he is still innocent in this case of all the things that Mr. Santos was found guilty about. They called out his, quote, belligerent and insatiable appetite for likes on social media, singling out a number of social media posts they have for him. His sentencing hearing is next Friday.
Jake Rosen, thank you.